For all of your sports in Lorain, keep your TV tuned to TV 20, Lorain City Schools Television.
And welcome to 7th grade girls volleyball on WLCS TV 20. We have the Southview 7th graders taking on General Johnnie Wilson. Southview 7th graders, a 7-1 record with Coach Lindsay Wright in her second year as head coach. And Coach Wright out there talking with her team right now and with the official coach, longtime coach Peggy Ham in her 15th year as head coach of General Johnnie Wilson. Her team also with a good record at 5-3, and it looks like the young ladies from General Johnnie Wilson will begin by serving to Southview. Both teams wearing identical uniforms, so Joe and I will have to be smarter than usual to tell you who's who. But General Johnnie Wilson now with the set, and that's Victoria McCown with the set, and mishit it, and that will be a point for for Southview. They go up 1-0. You play 2 games out of 3, you go to 25, so same scoring as the varsity or high school level, but it's just 2 games out of 3 here. Hitting it over the net for General Johnnie Wilson is Serenity O'Neill, and that ties it at 1.
Rally scoring as well in junior high volleyball as well as varsity, so there is a point scored on every serve.
Madison Mihal to serve. Mihal with a nice overhand serve, gets it over, dug out by Samantha Terrell, sent back over to the General Johnnie Wilson side, back to Southview. Unable to play that ahead was Destiny Lucente, and that point goes to General Johnnie Wilson. They lead 2-1. We're playing at Southview Middle School. 2 of the 3 middle schools in Lorain today competing. We'll have the 7th and the 8th graders, and again serving Madison Mihal for General Johnnie Wilson. Another good serve. And it's played back to the General Johnnie Wilson side. A set by Serenity O'Neill, and hitting it into the net is Victoria McCown, and that will tie game 1 at 2 apiece. So Coach Ham giving instructions to her team. And Lindsay Wright over there on the Southview side. Serve now for Southview is Elissa Myrick. Sent over on the 3rd hit by McCown. Good job that time, and an excellent hit. And a point is going to be rewarded Nieve Edwards with the point for Southview. Makes it 3-2. Elissa Myrick serving. Nice deep serve, and that is hit into the net. Point for Southview. They go up 4-2.
In addition to that, Rob, nice overhand serve.
Yes,
which
exactly.
Is really great, especially at the 7th grade level.
Right. There's another good serve. Well, that one's wide.
Jinxed her, but very nice. It's good to see him with that technique and doing that at 7th grade.
So that makes it 4-3. Southview with the lead here early on in game 1. Played 2 games out of 3. And with the serve and unable to put it over that time is Serenity O'Neill. That gives the point to Southview, and they lead 5-3. Serving is Destiny Lucente. Lucente line drive served into the net. Point for General Johnnie Wilson. It's 5-4. Southview with a lead. We've had 3 consecutive missed serves. And going back to serve is Victoria McCown. General Johnnie Wilson, 7th grader. She has a deep serve, but that one's wide and out of bounds. 6-4 Southview. Serving is Samantha Terrell. Terrell with the underhand serve into the net. 6-5. And now going back to serve for General Johnnie Wilson is going to be Rachel Cancel. Cancel waits. Her serve is going to be played. And there's a point. Nice job on the return. Samantha Terrell makes it 7-5 Southview. Kyra Rice now goes back to serve for Southview. And her serve will be wide and out of bounds. Point goes to General Johnnie Wilson and makes it 7-6 Southview. Serving for General Johnnie Wilson, Araya Bivens. Araya with a serve that is played ahead but into the net, so that point will go to General Johnnie Wilson. Asha Smith put it into the net, and that ties this match at 7 in game 1. So we've had ties at 1, 2, and now at 7. And General Johnnie Wilson looking for their first lead of game 1, and they'll have to wait because that serve doesn't go over the net, gives the point to Southview. They lead 8-7. Now Asha Smith serving. Smith's serve will go wide out of bounds. And we're again tied at 8. And we're going to have a timeout on the floor, Joe. Here in game 1, we are tied at 8. 7th grade girls volleyball on WLCS TV 20. Today's game you can watch on Spectrum Cable TV 20, or possibly you're watching on YouTube.
Very popular YouTube channel. Watch anywhere. You don't have to have cable. So many people on the go nowadays. Watch it on your phone, your tablet, or computer. This is our first of quite a few of, I wouldn't say a plethora, but quite a few of middle school coverage. Going to do several volleyball games, some football as well.
Looking forward to that, as WLCS TV 20, as you know, one of the more popular things that they do are these middle school sports, along with the high school sports. And we are tied at 8 here in game 1. Rob Polinsky along with Joe Bach. And serving for the 7th graders for General Johnnie Wilson is Damaika Smith. Damaika with a serve. And is played ahead by Lucente. Back to the General Johnnie Wilson side. Sent back over by Madison Mihal. And that point will go to General Johnnie Wilson. And they take their first lead in game 1, Joe, at 9-8. Took them a while. We were tied 3 different times. And finally they take their first lead. Again, the serve goes over, and it's played. This is the longest rally of the match. That point goes to General Johnnie Wilson. They lead 10-8. You know, the overhand serve is what you want to do, but, boy, if you can just get the serve in there, it helps out tremendously. And Damaika Smith has done that now, 3 straight serves. 10-8. And playing that into the net is Elissa Myrick. It gives General Johnnie Wilson another point, and their biggest lead of game 1 at 11-8. You play to 25 and play the best 2 games out of 3. There's a good deep hit that's played from the back row. Sent over by Serenity O'Neill, and a point again for General Johnnie Wilson. They lead 12-8. So a good run here from the serving of Damaika Smith. She has served 5 straight points.
You can't score if you don't get it over the net, so that's
truth in that. And there's a short serve that's going to be played back to the General Johnnie Wilson side. Second hit. Now they got to get over this time, and Mihal's able to put it over, but she hits it wide, out of bounds. Point to Southview. They'll get the serve back, trailing 12-9. And for Southview, serving is Edwards. Edwards, long drive serve, and that is just out. Just long, out of bounds. They're going to reserve. Coach Ham was trying to make a substitution, and they're going to replay that, reserve it. It's coming in for General Johnnie Wilson is Lindsay Schulich to the back row. So Edwards will get the chance here to serve, play that point over. Her team trailing 12-9. This time she gets it in. Sent over on the second hit, played over there, and that's going to be a point for General Johnnie Wilson, as it was Serenity O'Neill who had the good placement of that shot, and it gives her team a 13-9 lead. Mihal sends it over. Lucente hits it into the net. Point for General Johnnie Wilson. They lead 14-9.
It's their biggest lead of the game here so far.
You're exactly right, Joe. This 5-point lead, their biggest lead of game 1. Madison Mihal, again, this is 7th grade girls volleyball. She's with General Johnnie Wilson. And that went off the top of the net. Well played by Serenity O'Neill. Gives Southview the point, or gives General Johnnie Wilson the point. They lead 15-9. Joe, that wasn't easy for O'Neill.
Yeah.
She was looking for it. It went off the top of the net, and she was able to play that, and that was a good job on.
It sure was.
That wasn't. She made it look easy. It wasn't. There's an ace on the serve, and that makes it 16-9. So General Johnnie Wilson didn't get their first lead until 9-8. But Joe, since that point when they were trailing 8-7, they have outscored Southview 9-1.
Wow.
And it's hit wide and out of bounds. Southview, the General Johnnie Wilson again with a point, leading 17-9. Second hit, or the serve, I should say, barely doesn't get over the net, and it gives a point to Southview, who needs a rally here, trailing 17-10.
Okay, here's the good overhand server.
And that good overhand server is Elissa Myrick, and hitting it into the net is Mihal. It gives Southview the point. They trail 17-11.
Yeah, she'll be one to watch going up in the ranks here at Lorain City Schools.
That's kind of the fun of doing this at this level, Joe, as you can remember a couple years down the road, maybe the young ladies from what junior high they were from, as we get to see them, is then they all become Lorain Titans in a couple of years.
Right, and same with 7th and 8th grade football coming up too.
17-12. Elissa Myrick with a good serve. Joe mentioned she's good at it, and that one's going to go wide. It's out of bounds. Southview girls do a good job of letting that go wide, and it's 17-13.
So far, she's served the lion's share of the points here.
Myrick to serve. That one's wide, out of bounds. Gives the point to General Johnnie Wilson. They lead 18-13. And Serenity O'Neill will serve for General Johnnie Wilson. Her team is up 18-13. Coach Ham, 15th year for General Johnnie Wilson. Coach Wright, 2nd year at Southview. Point will go to General Johnnie Wilson, is unable to play it where the Southview 7th graders, makes it 19-13. Again, General Johnnie Wilson with a record of 5-3. Southview at 7-1. Both teams pretty evenly matched, it would seem, Joe. We send it back to the General Johnnie Wilson side. It's sent over by McCown, and that one's been wide, out of bounds. Give the point to General Johnnie Wilson. They lead 20-13 here as we get to the later stages of game 1.
Yeah, you're right, Rob. They play a very, very similar schedule in the Lake Erie League and a few independent contests, but
and of course, then they play each other. So
right.
And then we'll also get to see later this year the young ladies from Longfellow.
Yes.
So it's 21-13. There's another good serve that time by Serenity O'Neill. So at some point we'll have all 3 junior highs from Lorain on. There's an ace off the serve of O'Neill, 22-13. O'Neill, and there's an ace, fell between a couple of defenders for Southview, 23-13. General Johnnie Wilson 2 points away from taking a 1-0 lead.
Another nice overhead server.
And that one won't go over by O'Neill. That was Joe Box with the jinx, not Rob Polinsky.
That's right.
23-14, General Johnnie Wilson leads. And it's Mia Nider with the serve now. Step back over. Played, good job of hitting that over the net by Elissa Myrick. And the point will go to General Johnnie Wilson, and we are at game point as they lead 24-14 here in game 1. And trying to serve for game 1 is Victoria McCown. Line drive, serve, ace, and there's the game, and she does it in style, Joe.
She does. That was a very nice serve at any level.
Yes, and General Johnnie Wilson takes the 25-14 game 1 win. We'll take a timeout. We'll be back with game number 2, 7th grade girls volleyball. General Johnnie Wilson and Southview will have game 2. That's coming up next. You're watching 7th grade girls volleyball on WLCS TV 20, home of Lorain City Schools Television.
Hi, my name is Israel Cedillo. I am 17 years old and in 11th grade at Lorain High School. I'm studying climate control through Lorain High's Career Tech Education program. I started the climate control program in the 10th grade. I learned all about the basics of furnaces, building a room, drywall, pretty much everything a house would ever need. I am not the type of guy to be sitting behind a computer all day. I am a very hands-on person. From the start, you learn that safety's first because we handle dangerous, hazardous machinery equipment. Then there's bookwork, and then you get into the hands-on part. You learn heating and electrical. I'm working on taking several certifications while I'm still in high school. After that, I'm going to go to LCC for 2 years for architectural design. I want to be my own contractor. I'm learning how to do everything that a house needs to be built at Lorain High. I knew what I wanted to do, and now I know how to do it. And it's all thanks to Lorain High's Climate Control Career Tech program.
And welcome back. We get set for game 2. It'll be Southview serving the general Johnnie Wilson. Edwards with the serve, sent back, and off the top of the net, that point is going to go to general Johnnie Wilson. They lead 1-0 as they won the first game 25-14. Joe, in that game, Southview took the early lead, and then we were tied at 4 different times at 1, 2, 7, and 8. But once general Johnnie Wilson took the lead at 9-8, boy, they never looked back. In fact, they outscored Southview to end that game 1 by a score of 18-6 after they were down 8-7. That is played deep and out of bounds. So general Johnnie Wilson out to the quick 3-0 lead here in game 2. You play 2 games out of 3, and serving is Demika Smith. Smith with the serve that's sent back over. It's the general Johnnie Wilson side. Serenity O'Neill back to the net. Tried to play that, wasn't able to. Southview gets the point, and they trail 3-1. And for Southview serving, it'll be Elissa Myrick. Myrick with the serve. That one will go out of bounds wide. General Johnnie Wilson with a point. They lead 4-1. And it'll be Madison Mehall to serve. She did a good job serving in game 1. Of course, I just jinxed her. She hits that one short of the net, and it's 4-2.
Well, better you than me.
Took the pressure off you, Joe. Served by Mia Nieder, and that is wide. It'll be 5-2. General Johnnie Wilson leads. You know, we saw this a little bit early in game 1, Joe, where the teams kind of had some missed serves, but as the game wore on, we saw less and less of that.
Yeah, I saw some nice rallies, and
yep.
Yeah.
And just going back to serve now is Serenity O'Neill. O'Neill with the serve. And it's going to be short of the net, so the point will go to general Johnnie Wilson. They lead 6-2. Again, O'Neill to serve, overhand serve. That one's well placed, and it's going to be an ace as it fell between a couple of the young ladies from Southview, Amari Romero and Elissa Myrick. Got to talk it over out there.
That's right.
7-2.
Communication vital at all levels here in volleyball.
That serve just off the top of the net short. Point to Southview. They trail 7-3. Southview trailing 1-0 and down 7-3. They need to get it going here. And they'll bring back Aja Smith to serve. We saw her in the first game. She comes in and replaces Emily Barnes. That serve right on the line is going to be played. Back to the general Johnnie Wilson side, sent back over on the third hit. Nice play there by Elissa Myrick. Back to Madison Mehall, sends it over. Longest rally by far. And it's hit out of bounds by Samantha Terrell. Give general Johnnie Wilson the point. They lead 8-3. And Joe, that was the longest rally we've seen today by far.
Oh, by far, right.
8-3. And serving will be Victoria McCown. And we're going to have a timeout. And here early on in game 2, we have a timeout. So that gives us time to remind you first off the score. It's 8-3 general Johnnie Wilson. They won the first game 25-14. Lorain City Schools Television, WLCS TV 20, Spectrum Cable. Check out Lorain Schools TV 20 on Facebook for all your entertainment and informational needs. You can follow us on Twitter at LCS_TV 20. Check out the YouTube station, Lorain Schools TV 20. I know we're over 1 million views by now.
Yep.
And you can like Lorain Schools TV 20 on Facebook and get a chance to win some great prizes.
They're closing in on 1.1 million and closing in on 7,500 followers on our Facebook page as well. So doing quite well.
Good to hear.
Everybody's engaged and hopefully enjoying what we're doing.
Victoria McNown to serve. So McCown to serve. Her team leads 8-3. Coach Peggy Ham in conversation with the official. She's the 15th year head coach of General Johnnie Wilson. And McCown with a good deep overhand serve, and that'll be a point. Unable to play that was Myrick, and it's 9-3. So General Johnnie Wilson trying to end this in 2 games if possible. And of course, Southview wants to extend this to a 3rd game, but they've got to come from behind, trailing 9-3. There's an ace, and sliding in, trying to come up and make the play. Unable to was Edwards. 10-3. McCown with a couple of well-placed serves.
Very well, yes.
Serve is sent back over by Edwards, and it's played out of bounds, makes it 11-3 General Johnnie Wilson. And I get substitution coming in for the Southview 7th graders is Kyra Rice. She'll take the middle of the front row. Count another good deep serve that's played out of bounds, 12-3. Those serves by McCown have not been easy for the Southview girls to try to pass ahead. Joe, the first thing you have to be able to do is, return the serve. You've got to be able to pass it, and that way you can set it and get in your offense. If you can't do that, and it's been tough for the Southview girls. Now that's played better. And they'll get a chance now to send it over. There's a point. Nice job by Edwards. A couple of good jobs by Nieva. Edwards gives Southview the point. They trail 12-4, and Southview girls need to get a bit of a rally here, Joe, down 12-4. And serving is Destiny Lucenti. To McCown. McCown ahead. Sent over. On the second hit. Edwards from the middle of the front row sends it over, and that one's going to be wide out of bounds. Point to Southview. They trail 12-5. Both teams wearing identical uniforms, so Joe and I were smart enough to figure out that the team stands in front of their coach. So we know that serving right now is the Southview 7th graders. Lucente with the serve, and putting it into the net is Lindsay Schulich. Gives the point to Southview. They trail 12-6.
Well, with the same color uniforms, good thing this isn't like football or basketball.
True. And that serve goes into the net, gives the point to General Johnnie Wilson. They lead 13-6. General Johnnie Wilson won game 1, 25-14. And now serving will be Rachel Cancel. Point for Cancel and General Johnnie Wilson, 14-6. Cancel with a good deep serve. Lucente plays it off the top of the net. And that point will go to Southview. Nice job by Lucente. Gets the point for her team. They trail 14-7. Substitution coming in to serve. Samantha Terrell will come in for Kyra Rice. She'll go back to serve. Her team down 14-7. And hits the serve. Gives the point to General Johnnie Wilson. They lead 15-7. And now going back to serve is Araya Bivens. Saw Bivens in the first game, did a good job serving. Another good deep serve there, and it's an ace. 16-7. It's kind of one of those, you take it, I'll take it. Nobody ends up taking it. Happens from time to time. Bivens, nice serve. Played by Edwards, right back to the General Johnny Wilson side. And a little miss hit there by Nieder gives the point to General Johnny Wilson. They lead 17-7. Serving again, Araya Bivens. Bivens, well played. And that one is sent, and it's going to be inbounds. And it'll give the point to Southview. They trail 17-8. Going back to serve is Nevaeh Edwards. Nice serve by Edwards, and not unable to pass that ahead.
Nice line drive.
Johnny Wilson, 17-9 exactly. One of the better serves we've seen today. And that one came from Edwards, the 7th grader from Southview. Again, her coach Lindsay Wright. Her team comes in at 7-1 for the 7th graders. That one's a little deeper and higher. Played right back, and a miss hit on the pass gives the point to General Johnny Wilson. They now lead 18-9. They've doubled up Southview in game 2. And going back to serve for the General Johnny Wilson 7th graders is Lindsay Schulich. Schulich plays it, and that's going to be a point. 19-9. Substitution. There's the Southview 7th graders, Amari Romero. Official talking with Coach Wright, wants to make sure that they've got the right subs in and that they're substituted correctly. We have a stoppage here as they try to get the right young ladies on the floor. Joe, we're at 7th grade girls volleyball. Again, we're at Southview. It's General Johnny Wilson versus Southview. And as Joe mentioned, it's the first of several doubleheaders that we'll have in 7th and 8th grade girls volleyball on WLCS TV 20. I'll also have the young ladies from Longfellow on later this year. And that serve is hit into the net. It will be a point for General Johnny Wilson. They lead 20-9. And we're going to have a timeout. So another timeout here for Southview as they trail 20-9, Joe. They're trying to stay in this match, down 1-0. Lost the first game 25-14. And they're 5 points away from getting swept in 2 games at 20-9 in game 2.
I want to mention, too, especially if you're watching on YouTube and maybe you can't find us on Spectrum, well, Spectrum made a corporate decision, not just in Lorain, but all educational channels, no matter what channel you were, some of them were 20, some of them were 22, they've all been moved to channel 1025, channel 1025. So that's where we're at. But we're not going to change our.
So I should change my shirt instead of TV 20. It should be TV 1025.
I thought about that for like about a second. I'm like, no, not going to do it.
Joe, I thought that was. I heard that was Bob Schlumbaker's decision. You tell me that's not true.
It's not true.
He's not part of the Spectrum.
You'll be able to ask him personally because Monday you'll be working with him.
I'm counting down the days.
Oh, I bet you are.
Can't wait to see Bob.
Yeah. And I'm sure he can't wait to see you too.
20-9, General Johnny Wilson leads Southview, and it's Lindsay Schulich to serve, and she'll hit that into the net, and that'll give Southview a point and the serve. It's now 20-10. And going back to serve for Southview is Elissa Myrick. Myrick, nice deep serve, played back, and the point will go to General Johnny Wilson. The Southview couldn't get it over on 3 hits, 21-10. And going to serve is Madison Mehall for General Johnny Wilson. She hits it into the net, gives the point back and the serve back to General Johnny Wilson. It's 21-11. Nieder's serve is wide out of bounds off the score table. 22-11. Serving is Serenity O'Neill. Her team 3 points away from the match. And that serve will be hit from the back row by Schulich. It gives the point to Southview. It's 22-12. Serving for Southview, Asha Smith. Underhand serve for Smith. And it goes into the net from Rachel Cancel. Makes it 22-13 as Southview tries to inch a little closer here, Joe, and stay in this match. Cancel sends it over. Mihal with the dig. Schulich will pass it ahead, and that will go into the net. Another point for Southview. They trail 22-14. Get a little bit closer.
Yeah. There's no 8-point play, so you just got to take them one at a time.
That's it. Asha Smith will serve that wide and out of bounds. 23-14. General Johnny Wilson now 2 points away from the match. And serving will be Victoria McCown. McCown's serve is going to be out of bounds. 23-15. I don't even guess. I just look at the refs anymore, Joe.
Right, yeah.
They usually tell you. I try not to guess, but that's not always the case. Destiny Lucente, her team trails 23-15. Nice job on the, but there's going to be wide when it went over the net. It was wide.
Yeah, it's got to be in between the antennas when they return it. So
she was wide of that, so it's 23-16. So Southview trying to make it interesting here. Lucente again with another good serve. Played nice job there. Serenity O'Neill hit it over and now makes it match point at 24-16. That was a great job by O'Neill because that was a tough serve to handle. She was able to do it. And Rachel Cancel will try to serve for the match. High serve. It's going to be played out of bounds, and that will give the match to General Johnny Wilson. They win in 2 games, 25-14, 25-16. So the 7th graders from General Johnny Wilson, as 2 teams will shake hands. With the win, they go to 6-3. With the loss, the Southview girls will drop to 7-2. Again, General Johnny Wilson wins on the road in 2 games, 25-14, 25-16. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube and you want to watch the 8th grade game, you need to reload and to see the 8th grade game. And for those of you who are tuned in on Spectrum TV, stay tuned. After this timeout, we'll bring you 8th grade girls basketball, 8th grade girls volleyball. Again, it's General Johnny Wilson in Southview. And Joe and I will be back with the 8th grade match right after this timeout. You've been watching girls 7th grade volleyball on WLCS TV 20, home of Lorain City Schools Television.
This has been a production of Lorain City Schools TV 20 WLCS.